Hey everyone, ready to seriously level up your Korean? Today, we're unlocking a grammar point that's a total game changer for how you express yourself. Let's get right into it. Okay, so imagine this. You're in line, you've been waiting forever, and someone just waltzes right past you, cuts in. Your brain immediately goes, that's rude, right? But what if it's not just rude? What if it's so unbelievably, outrageously rude that rude just doesn't even begin to cover it? Yeah. For moments like that, you need a linguistic upgrade. You need a power-up. You need a way to say that something has hit the absolute maximum level of, well, anything. Rudeness, cuteness, silliness, you name it. And that is where this comes in. Introducing 이 잃을 데가 없다. This, right here, is the power-up we're talking about today. Seriously, think of this as your new secret weapon for adding some major emphasis in Korean. So what does it do? At its heart, it's just a super powerful intensifier. It's how you say something is incredibly this or beyond measure that. It's perfect for those times when you really want to stress that a quality has reached its absolute limit. And what's so cool is the literal meaning behind it. If you break it down, you've got 이르다, which means to reach, then 데, which is like a place or a point, and finally 없다, meaning there is none. So put it all together and you're literally saying there is no point to reach beyond this. How cool is that? It's the absolute end of the line, the ultimate limit. Okay, that's the theory. But how do we actually use this thing in a sentence? Well, it's actually way more straightforward than it looks. Let's break it down. We're going to use a classic example here. 유치하기 이를 데 없어. This basically means it is incredibly childish, or, it's childish beyond all belief. So let's see how we build this.
All right, here's the anatomy of the sentence. First, you grab your adjective stem. In this case, it's 유치하, from the word 유치하다, which means to be childish. Simple enough? Next, you tack on 기. This little guy is called a nominalizer. Fancy word, but all it does is turn the adjective into a noun. So childish becomes childishness. And then you just slop our pattern on the end. 잃을 데 없어. So you're literally saying the state of being childish has nowhere else to go. It's reached its peak.
Okay, knowing the grammar rule is great, but let's be real. Mastering the vibe is what's going to make you sound natural. And trust me, this pattern has a very specific flavor. So let's talk about when you should actually use it. All right, this is super important if you want to sound like you know what you're doing. First off, this phrase sounds pretty formal, almost literary. You're going to hear it a lot in historical dramas or in very serious writing. Second, it's almost always used with negative adjectives. It's for complaining, criticizing, or lamenting something. Okay, that's enough theory for now. The best way to really get this stuff to stick is to just do it. So let's try applying this pattern in a few different scenarios. It's your turn to practice. All right. Let's circle back to that line cutter from the beginning. They cut in, maybe even gave you a little shove. You want to say they are incredibly rude. The Korean word for rude is 무례하다. So how would you form that sentence? Take a second and think about it. Got it? The answer is 무례하기 이를 데 없어. See? You just take that stem, 무례하, pop on our pattern, and you've just perfectly captured that peak level of frustration. Nice work. Okay, next situation. Let's switch up the emotion. Imagine you see a little puppy abandoned in the rain. It's just heartbreaking. How would you say that it's incredibly pitiful? The adjective you need is 불쌍하다. That's it. It's 불쌍하게 이를 데 없어. You can really feel how it captures that extreme sadness, right? It's just a really powerful way to express that kind of heavy feeling. All right, last one. Let's say you've got a friend and their problem-solving skills are, let's just say, they're not very complex. How would you describe them as incredibly simple-minded? The adjective here is 단순하다. Yup, you nailed it. 단순하기 이를 데 없어. Now, just remember, this is a pretty direct and formal way to criticize someone, so you'd probably want to soften it with the polite 없어요 ending, unless you're really close with that friend. Okay, you've done the practice runs. Time for a quick final test. This is just to make sure you've really locked in the core vibe of this grammar pattern. So picture this. You're watching a Korean historical drama. A king is on his throne, and he needs to call out one of his advisors for being childish. Which of these sounds more like a king? Option A, the casual, 쟤 진짜 유치해, which is like, that guy is so childish. Or option B, the very grand,
그는 유치하기 이를 데 없다, meaning he is childish beyond measure.
It's gotta be B, right? Of course. That formal literary vibe we talked about, it's perfect for a king. It has this weight, this seriousness that the casual phrase just doesn't. And that's why getting the nuance is so important. And just like that, you've done it. Consider this new Korean power-up officially unlocked. You now have a fantastic tool to express extreme feelings with some real style and precision.
So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. What's the most extreme thing in your life that you can now describe in Korean? Maybe it's a beautiful view, or a frustrating situation, or even a moment of pure joy. Now you've got the words for it, so get out there and try it out.